Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. I'm back, hoping, I've just got back from a holiday, a week's holiday, so I'm hoping now to start doing, because it's been a few months that I've been iffy scheduling, and I keep promising that I'm gonna get back into normal scheduling. I've recorded another video a few weeks ago which should go up before you see this one, and then I'm doing this in 3 parts because it's just easier. And then there's more videos to go up, and then there should be more regular videos from the new year. I plan on ranking all the films I watched this year, looking at my most anticipated films for next year. Obviously everything I get for Christmas I will dedicate a video to. I got quite a few videos planned, but today I thought I'd do this, give you just a big insight onto how many films I actually have to watch still. So I thought I'd break it down. It may be 3-4 videos, and show you all the films that are in my watch pile, that obviously makes up the watch pile series, which will be back up and I know I said that it would be back up and running again a few weeks ago now, but I've decided I'm going to hold until the new year now, and then we'll get all the regular videos back up and running again. But yeah, I'm going to get straight on. They're in no particular order. Some of them I have seen before, but they've been put in the pile because it's been such a long time since I've seen them. But for the majority of them, they will be first time watches. So first up, we have in my Alien anthology box, we have Alien 3, directed by David Fincher, and Alien Resurrection, directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet. Yeah, I've seen the first two. First two are great. I think Aliens is probably my favourite, but I've heard the third and the fourth aren't as good, so I've been a bit hesitant to watch them, but I'm sure I'll get around to watching them now. It's taken me long enough to watch the first two, so I'm sure I will get around to the third and fourth one soon. Next up we have Gardens of Stone, which is a Francis Ford Coppola film. It's a war film of sorts. It doesn't really say, because this is an indicator release, it doesn't actually give you a description on the back. Sorry, the lighting isn't great. I'm filming this at night, so all I've got is the light in my room. So apologies for that. But yeah, James Caan, Angelica Houston, James Earl Jones, who we lost very recently, D.B. Sweeney, Dean Stockwell. It's a very good cast, from 1987. It's 111 minutes long. Yeah, that's one I need to give a go. Next up we have A League of Their Own, one of the few Tom Hanks films in my collection that I've yet to watch. I've heard great things about this. I know they did remake it into a TV series a few years ago that didn't do too well. But yeah, obviously you've got Madonna in this, Gina Davis, John Lovitz, David Strathairn, the great Gary Marshall, who obviously brought us films like Pretty Woman, Runaway Bride, Valentine's Day. Not particularly great films, but guilty watches, I would say. And Bill Pullman's in it as well. Throwing it around. So yeah, that's A League of Their Own. Then we have another 90s one, Glen Ross, which has a fantastic cast. You've got Al Pacino, you've got Alec Baldwin, you've got Jack Lemmon, Kevin Spacey, Jonathan Pryce, Ed Harris. Just an absolutely fantastic cast. Alan Arkin I missed off as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to watching this one. Yeah, I don't really know too much about it, but I think I probably picked it up a long time ago for the cast alone. Then we have The Last Starfighter. This is the American release, because this I got this before Arrow released it. I've just heard it's a cult 80s sci-fi film. Yeah, not heard too much about it. It's one that I've not kind of been that eager to watch, because it looks like it's going to be quite cheesy, maybe not a very well made film, but I'll get around to it at some point, because who knows, I might enjoy it more than I think. Then we have this one, which has been in my collection for a very long time, and it's called, I think it's called, does it say? Yeah, The Long Walk Home, it does say down there. Which has got Whoopi Goldberg, Sissy Spacek, Ving Rhames, and Dwight Schultz in. I don't really know why I got this one. It may have been that it was in like an offer on Amazon Germany, or it was just really cheap, or I saw someone else pick it up. I don't know, but it's one that I've definitely had for a long time. It looks like some sort of civil rights type thing in the 50s, something to do with Martin Luther King. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure because it is all in German, but I obviously got it for some reason. The cast's pretty good, so, and it's only an hour and a half, so I'll hopefully get around to that at some point. Next up, we have The King of Comedy with Robert De Niro and Jerry Lewis. Inspired Joker, which obviously also had Robert De Niro in the Jerry Lewis type role. But I've not seen it yet. I've heard good things about it. So it's Martin Scorsese film, so I honestly don't know why I've not seen it yet. Hopefully this will get pushed to the top of my list for next year. Next up we have, we're not looking at that one, another 48 Hours. I've seen 48 Hours quite a few times now, but for some reason I've never seen the sequel. I don't know why, but I do like Eddie Murphy, I do like Nick Nolte, so another one that I should really prioritise. Then we have Toy Soldiers with Louis Gossett Jr. and Sean Astin, which is kind of like, I think, set at a school that gets taken over by terrorists, and it's for troubled boys. And there's a group of boys that have to try and take the school back and defeat the terrorists, I think. You got Will Wheaton in it as well. Yeah, so I think this is early 90s, yeah, 91. So I'll give this one a go, see what that one's like as well. Excuse me. Next up, we have Tremors on 4K, one that I got some point this year. Arrow had a sale on, I think, and I picked up a few. This was one of them, one that I'd wanted for a while. But I've just not put it on yet. I don't know why. Again, it's one that I want to watch, so it will probably go on sooner rather than later, but I have it, so it can go on anytime. Then we have Rambo 3 on 4K. I've seen all of the Rambo films, bar this one, so I do need to try and watch this one. I don't know if this film's well regarded or not. Personally, my favourite's always going to be First Blood. Just a great film on its own. Not talking about franchise, just a standalone film on its own. It's great. And I like the one which I believe was in Vietnam, the fourth one, which was just Rambo. I think that one was pretty good as well. But yeah, that's Rambo 3. Then we have so we got Predator 2 and Predators. I've heard they're both decent films. So it's just a matter of getting around to it. I think the issue is I wasn't huge on Predator, which I know is probably quite an unpopular opinion. I didn't love it as much as others do. So it's kind of made me a bit hesitant to watch the other two. Although I did really like the Predator, which a lot of people didn't like. So I don't know. I'm a bit hesitant on whether or not I'm going to like them or not. But I will definitely get around to them at some point. Then we have Wall Street, an Oliver Stone film, in which Michael Douglas won his Oscar for. You've also got performances from Charlie Sheen in this, Daryl Hannah, Martin Sheen, Hal Holbrook, and Terence Stamp. All about, as the title would suggest, Wall Street, and a big like financial person who's kind of trying to bring up this young stockbroker played by Charlie Sheen. But it's all about corruption and greed and that sort of stuff, so be interesting to watch. Then we have Supergirl, which is again one that I remember when it came out. I think purely the reason I got this was because it was during one of the lockdowns. Very little titles were being released at the time. This was a back catalogue title that they just decided to release. I got it on an offer one day, really cheap, picked it up, put it in a pile, never watched it. It doesn't interest me that much, because it's kind of just a rip-off of Superman, so I don't really know why I would want to watch that, but it's got a decent cast. You've got Peter O'Toole, Faye Dunaway, Mia Farrow. So I will watch it at some point, but I'm not in a rush to watch it. Then we have Empire of the Sun, one of the few Spielberg films now that I haven't actually watched, starring a young Christian Bale. You've also got John Malkovich, Miranda Richardson, Nigel Havers. It's a war film about a young boy that gets separated from his mother, I believe, and he kind of goes on his own journey during World War II. I don't know much more about it, but I know it's meant to be a great film. So again, I think the runtime is one of the reasons that I've put this off, but I will definitely get around to it soon because it's Spielberg and I do love Spielberg. And then we have Overboard, comedy with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. I love my 80s comedies. I've picked this up. Don't know why I've not watched it yet, but again, one that I will prioritise in the new year. Another Spielberg film. I've got two more here that I think the only ones that I've not seen. Munich, about the Munich Olympic bombing and kind of behind the scenes what happened, the people that were involved, that sort of thing. You've got Daniel Craig, Eric Bana, Kieran Hines, Jeffrey Rush. So a really good cast. So yeah, again, probably the reason I've not seen this yet is the runtime, but I will try and get that watched in the new year. And probably above the other two Spielberg films, one that needs to be watched even more because it's probably considered one of Spielberg's best, one of his first and one of his most essential watches, I would say. And that's Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I think I've been torn on watching this because there are 3 different cuts and I just don't know which cut to watch. You've got the theatrical version, the special edition, and the director's cut. Just let me know what cut you think I should watch down below, so I know what to watch when going into it. But this is one that I've been eager. I'm in an hour and I'm just straight away upgrading to 4K because I think it's going to look great in 4K. But I've held off because I want to actually watch the Blu-ray first before I upgrade. Because I've done that with something before. I can't remember what. But I bought the Blu-ray, it never got watched, it just sat in my watch pile, and then the 4K came out and I bought the 4K, so the Blu-ray was redundant, so it's sort of a waste of money. Even if I just get one watch out of this Blu-ray, I'll feel like it's not been a waste, if you know what I mean. So yeah, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Next up we have Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Coen Brothers film. One of the few George Clooney films I haven't seen. I've seen most of his films because he's one of my favourite actors, but this is one of his earlier ones that I've just not seen. So yeah, again, because of all the talent within it, I will try and prioritise this. Excuse me, I've got a bit of hiccups. In the new year, give it a watch in the new year and see what it's like. Next up, we have The Fan, which is a Tony Scott film. This came out again, I think it was early last year, I think it was. And I like the look of the cast, I like the look of the story. Bought it, just never watched it. I don't know what, I think it's because the artwork is quite plain. There's not much going on the artwork, because it's kind of it's like a white spine, and I don't know, there's not much to this. But it's got good talent behind it with Robert De Niro, Wesley Snipes, Benicio del Toro's in this as well. Music by Hans Zimmer, as I said, directed by Tony Scott. So it's got everything going for it, but I'm not sure if this is going to be a good watch or not, so I've kind of held off. That's pile 1. We've still got another 2 piles, so apologies, but this is going to be a long video because there are quite a lot of titles to show. So if you're still sticking with me, thank you. I'll try and get through these as quick as I can. Next up we have King Arthur, which is the early noughties telling of the story. Antoine Fuqua directed it, and it stars Clive Owen as Arthur, Keira Knightley as Guinevere, and Ewan Grufford as Lancelot. I like these like early noughties, Bruckheimer produced Disney films, Touchstone films. So it was a no-brainer to get. Again, just not got around to watching it yet. One that is definitely very high on my list for next year, because he's one of my favourite directors, and that is There Will Be Blood, which I still can't believe I've not watched yet. I love Paul Thomas Anderson. This is, some regard, this is one of his best films, if not his best film. Daniel Day-Lewis won an Oscar for his performance in this film. Paul Dano is fantastic in this film from what I've heard. I've seen clips of the film, but I've never actually sat down and watched it, so I need to correct that next year because it's one that I'm sure will not disappoint me. Then we have Troy, Brad Pitt, about the Siege of Troy, I think it was, wasn't it? You've got Eric Bana, Orlando Bloom, Diane Kruger, Peter O'Toole. So a very good cast. Brian Cox, Sean Bean, Brendan Gleeson. Music by James Horner, directed by Wolfgang Peterson, who's a pretty good director. So yeah, again, another one that I should probably watch, but it's 196 minutes, which is probably the main reason I've not watched it yet, because I love these sorts of films, but it's just sitting down, finding the time, and being in the right mood to watch it. Then we have The Island, a Michael Bay film, which a lot of people like, some people don't. I've heard mixed things on this. Some people really like this film, some people don't get on with it. I've seen half of it before, I think, and I remember enjoying it. I don't know where or when I watched it, but I can kind of remember bits of this film. It's Ewan McGregor, Scarlett Johansson, Sean Bean's in it as well, Jaimon Hounsou, Michael Clark Duncan, and Steve Buscemi. As I said, it's a Michael Bay film, so I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this on some level. Then we have another Tony Scott film, and that is Domino with Keira Knightley. Yeah, another one that I probably will really like when I get around to watching it, because it just sounds right up my street. It's got a great cast. It's a Tony Scott film, and I really enjoyed his work. He did some fantastic films. You've got Jacqueline Bisset in this as well. You have got Mickey Rourke, Edgar Ramirez, Delroy Lindo, Lucy Liu, Christopher Walken. So fantastic cast. But yeah, just not got around to watching it yet. Next up, from one of my favourite directors, but one film that's not regarded that well, Beowulf. Robert Zemeckis obviously directed this. In the same kind of style as The Polar Express and A Christmas Carol, kind of like that stop motion type animation that he did in the noughties. Story of Beowulf, in this played by Ray Winston. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really do much for me. It doesn't look like I'm gonna love it, which is why I've kind of not watched it yet. I will watch it at some point because I do like Robert Zemeckis, and I may be surprised, but yeah, I've not got high hopes for that one. Next up, kind of a similar vein, came out the same time, but is regarded a very good film. 300, a Zack Snyder film, the film that put him on the map. Gerard Butler obviously playing Leonidas, who kind of where he got his big break, I suppose. I mean, he was in films before this, but I would say this gave him his big break. What do they call it? Is it Swords and Sandals? Sandals and Swords? That type of film about Romans or whatever and a big battle. So again, my type of film. Just not got around to watching it yet. Then we have Jarhead, which is a Sam Mendes film, one of the few Sam Mendes films I've not seen yet. Jake Gyllenhaal's in this, as well as Jamie Foxx, Chris Cooper, Peter Sarsgaard, Lucas Black. Well, it does say Chris Cooper. It doesn't say his name on the back, but it does on the front. So I was doubting myself then. The DP on this, Roger Deakins. So yeah, great talent. Music by Thomas Newman, who is my favourite composer. So I'm sure I will enjoy this one when I get around to watching it. Next, for a bit of a random one. A few years back, I'll very quickly talk about this. Maybe last year, year before, there was a seller on eBay. I think they were called Declutter, if I remember rightly. They've changed names now. And they used to sell second-hand American Blu-rays, and they'd import them over here. And they were ridiculously cheap. This was one of them. It was about 15 quid to import over here. One of the last I got before they stopped shipping over here. It is region A locked, but it's one that I was just interested in. It's heavily out of print because the label is gone now. But it's a film called Uptown Girls with Brittany Murphy and Dakota Fanning. It looks like my sort of film, which is the main reason I got it. I do like these sorts of films. But yeah, I'd imagine this goes for quite a bit now because it's an Olive Films release, and I believe they went quite a few years ago now. So I was quite lucky to get this, and at the price I did. I don't know too much about it. I think it's about like a girl, Brittany Murphy, who has to like nanny Dakota Fanning's character, that sort of thing, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I got it to see what it's like. Then we have 2-film feature of The Squid and the Whale and Running with Scissors. I got this for, I want to say it was under £5. It's a Mill Creek release. It's an import, but I think that's ridiculously cheap for what it is. Both films I've still not seen. Both films that I'm really interested in watching. Squid and the Whale's a Noah Baumbach film, with Laura Linney, Jeff Daniels, Jesse Eisenberg. About a family, dysfunctional family. I think it's when the mother and father separate, and it's about the kids and how they, about the family, how they coped being separated, sort of, I think. And then Running with Scissors is a Ryan Murphy film, who's more known for being the showrunner of like American Horror Story, Monsters, 911, loads that he's done loads. Yeah, again about a dysfunctional family, I believe. You've got Annette Bening, Brian Cox, Joseph Fiennes, Evan Rachel Wood, Alec Baldwin, Jill Clayburgh, Gwyneth Paltrow. So really good cast. So yeah, those are two that good to watch. Next up, Ridley Scott film, American Gangster. I don't know why I've not seen this yet. Another one that I need to push to the top. I love Ridley Scott. I love pretty much everything he's done. He has had some misses for me. I know a lot of people don't like some of his work. I didn't like Napoleon. Didn't get on well with Napoleon. But other than that, I'm trying to think. There's not many that I dislike from his filmography. But yeah, I'm sure I'll really enjoy this one just because of what it's about. Then we have The Road, which is a film starring Viggo Mortensen, Guy Pearce, Robert Duvall, and Charlize Theron. Based on a Cormac McCarthy book. He did what story? I'm trying to think of the other film that was adapted. Oh, that's gonna bug me now. Was No Country for Old? I think No Country for Old Men was a Cormac McCarthy book, which I haven't seen as well, which I need to rectify. But I'm sure he's had other works adapted. But I've heard great things about this. I've heard it's very dark, very chilling. It's like a post-apocalyptic tale. Yeah, so that's one that should be high on my list as well. Then we have The Reader with Kate Winslet, I believe. Yep, she won her Oscar for this film. I think she plays a woman who has an affair with a younger boy. And it's during the war in Germany, and it's years later. Something happens, and she comes back into his life again. You got Ralph Fiennes in this, another fantastic actor. Seeing if anyone else is in this. They're the main two actors. Whether it's a Stephen Daldry film who did Billy Elliot in Hours. Billy Elliot, fantastic film. Still not seen The Hours though. So yeah, another one high on my list. Then we have The Fifth Estate with Benedict Cumberbatch about what's his name? Julian Assange, the computer hacker and activist who was responsible for WikiLeaks. So yeah, another one that I'm interested in. You got Peter Capaldi in this as well, Daniel Bruhl, Stanley Tucci, Laura Linney. So yeah, another one that I'm looking forward to checking out. Probably the biggest gap from the last 5 years of my watch history. I've seen some of it, but I've not seen all the way through. But I intend to very soon. And that is Parasite. Another one that I've just heard so many good things about. I've heard there's a twist. I didn't get up to the twist bit, which is I think good because it's not ruined it for me. But it's one that I will be watching at some point next year, hopefully. Then we have The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford. Brad Pitt, Casey Affleck. I've heard it's a good film. I've heard it's a really interesting watch. I like westerns, but it's 160 minutes long, which again, finding time to sit down and watch it and being in the right mood can be difficult, but I will try my best next year to get that watched. Then we have Kill Bill Volume 2. I've seen the first one. I didn't love it, which is why I've kind of not been that bothered about watching this. I think I do need to watch the first one again before I go into this one, because they're kind of films that deserve to be watched kind of back to back. But yeah, I might enjoy it more on a rewatch of the first one, and I might really like this one. This is some people's favourite Tarantino film, so who knows? I may change my mind. Then we have Brothers, which is a film starring Tobey Maguire, Natalie Portman, and Jake Gyllenhaal. Just looks great. Jake Gyllenhaal is my favourite actor. Just looks like my sort of film. Tobey Maguire is great as well. So yeah, one that I really want to watch. Then we have The Nest, which is a Sean Durkin film. She came out during the lockdown, and I watched a recent interview with Jude Law, and he said he wished more people saw this. He said he's very proud of this, but it's one that went quite underseen because of the time it came out. It kind of just went under the radar, but he believes that if it came out before the pandemic, that it would have been more known. Sean Durkin obviously gone on to direct The Iron Claw, which is one of my favourites of this year. You've also got Carrie Coon in this. It looks like it's going to be a good film. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. It looks interesting. So that's The Nest. And the last for this pile we have is You Don't Mess with the Zohan, Adam Sandler comedy. Sometimes I like these sorts of films. Shut your brain off and just laugh. I don't have many left to watch, and I'm very picky about what comedies I keep. If it's one that I don't have strong feelings for or don't laugh through, I generally will just pass it on because there's no point. I have a feeling this is going to be one of them, but it might make for a fun Sunday afternoon watch one day. Next up, we have Malcolm X, Denzel Washington, Spike Lee, obviously about Malcolm X. One that I've wanted to watch, but as with a few of these, the runtime being 201 minutes, finding time to watch it, very difficult. Then we have The Doctor, which is a Kino title that just looked interesting, and I found it cheap on, I want to say, Vinted a while back. Starring William Hurt. I believe he plays a doctor who finds out that he's dying, maybe. But yeah, I don't know too much about it, but I thought I'd add it to the collection. Then we have Space Jam. I've seen a new one, but for some reason I've never saw this one, so I think I need to rectify that and give that one a watch. Excuse me. Then we have Maverick, which is a Richard Donner film starring Mel Gibson, James Garner, and Jodie Foster. Another Western, so another one that I should watch because I'm sure I'll have a lot of fun with it. Then we have The Cure, which is another Mill Creek release that just looked like a interesting watch. Hasn't really got anyone in that I'm that familiar with. But yeah, it looks like my sort of film, so we'll see what that one's like and whether or not it stays in the collection. Then we have The Last Station, which is a look at the last years of, I think he was a playwright, wasn't he? Leo Tolstoy, like a writer. No, he was a writer, he wasn't a playwright. He wrote War and Peace, didn't he? In this film, played by Christopher Plummer, his wife in this, played by Helen Mirren. You've got Paul Giamatti, James McAvoy, Kerry Condon. So really good cast in this. So yeah, sure that one will be good as well. Then we have Watchmen. Yes, I've still not seen Watchmen. Zack Snyder. I've heard it's a fantastic film, great superhero film. So yeah, give that one a go soon. Then we have Village of the Damned. This is the original 1960 film, which stars who's in this? George Sanders, Barbara Shelley, about a small town that something's a bit off. I believe this was remade with Christopher Reeve in the 90s. So that one will be an interesting watch. This is only 77 minutes, so I'm sure this will be a nice, easy watch one night. Then we have The Satanic Rites of Dracula. I watched Dracula AD 72, is it? 1972? A few months ago. I really enjoyed it, so I'm now trying to get the Dracula films to watch the Christopher Lee ones first. Then I might go back to Bela Lugosi and all the Universal Monster stuff. But yeah, this one is a follow-up to the one I've seen, and I believe this was his last one that he did. So I just need to go back and get all of his other ones now and give them a watch. But yeah, The Satanic Rites of Dracula. Then we have Detachment. This one I'm going to shout out to Sammy G over at Sammy G's World of Cinema. I think I got it right that time. I probably got it wrong before. I watched his first videos that he did going through his collection. This was what the title that he mentioned was good. And it has got a fantastic cast, so off the back of watching his video, I went and picked it up, and it's just gone in the pile, so I've not watched it yet, so I will hopefully get around to watching it sooner rather than later, as with most of these. Then we have the Mummy box set. I've seen all of these before, but it's been a long time since I've seen the third one, which I know is not well regarded, and the pile's just fallen over. Ignore that. But I think I'll give it a rewatch, see what it's like. I'm really hoping they do a fourth one, bring back Brendan Fraser. I think that would be excellent. Let's sort this mess out. It's all over the place. Right, I think that's alright. Right, a few more. I'm just going to grab this. We have The Avengers, which is Ralph Fiennes, Uma Thurman, and Sean Connery as the villain. Cheesy 90s film based on the series from the 70s, so ought to be worth a watch. Then we have An Education, which is a British film from 2009 from Nick Hornby, who wrote About Boy in High Fidelity. This film, I believe, put Carey Mulligan on the map as well, so it'd be interesting to see what that one's like. Then we have The French Connection 2. Seen the first one, really enjoyed the first one, got the second one to watch, which I've heard is a massive step down from the first, but nevertheless, I will give it a go. Then we have Fallen Over Again, Mulholland Drive, David Lynch film, still sealed, loved Blue Velvet, still getting through Twin Peaks. I kind of paused that, I should really go back to that soon. Just love his style of directing, just love the way he tells stories. I wish he'd make another film, but I don't think that's ever going to happen now, unfortunately, with his health condition. But yeah, one that I definitely will check out soon. Then we have Casper. Good, fun looking animated film from the mid-90s. Got it cheap, so might be alright. Then we have Sabrina. I've seen the remake with Harrison Ford, but I thought I've got to give this one a go. It's got great people in. Humphrey Bogart, one of my favourites. Audrey Hepburn. I've only seen her in one film, which is Wait Until Dark, and she really impressed me in that, so I want to watch her other films. And William Holden, who, what was it I've seen him in something, I can't remember what, but I remember enjoying. I think he was in Love Is a Many Splendid Thing, if I remember rightly. And it's a Billy Wilder film, and I really like Some Like It Hot. So yeah, apparently he did Sunset Boulevard as well, which I'm staring at right now, which I also really enjoyed. So 2 films of his that I've seen that I didn't even know I'd seen. So 100% this one's going to the top of my list, because great talent behind them. Then we have The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, Terry Gilliam film, and Heath Ledger's final performance. Because he passed away during the making of the film, they had to improvise, so they got on Johnny Depp, Jude Law, and Colin Farrell, I believe, to kind of step in for him, and they didn't get paid or anything. They wouldn't take any money, they just did it, kind of in his memory. But yeah, Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. Then we have The Water Diviner with Russell Crowe. One that I remember coming out quite a few years ago. I've heard quite a lot of good word of mouth. I like Russell Crowe. It's just one I've not got around to watching yet. And the final one is Detroit, Catherine Bigelow's last film. Teaser, I have added another one of her films into my collection, but you won't see that until I show you everything I got for Christmas. I really need to get around to watching this. Loved Zero Dark 30. Really like The Hurt Locker. What other films? Near Dark's a great film as well. I'm trying to think what else. I'm sure I've seen something else. I'd have to have a look though. Can't remember. But yeah, Detroit. That is it for the first shelf. So that, as you can see, that's a lot. That's just one shelf. I've got another 2 pretty full shelves, and the drawers, one of which is full, to go through still. So still quite a lot. I probably won't do another video now. I'll probably wait until next weekend and film them, because it is getting on now. It is like 20 to 7, so I'm probably gonna find a Christmas film to put on now. I think I'm gonna watch Miracle on 34th Street because it's been a few years since I've watched that one. Yeah, I'm just gonna relax then before I go back to work tomorrow. But that is it for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Let me know what films to prioritize here. I will continue doing my watch poll videos in the new year, as I say, but I just want to really show everyone so you kind of know what to expect of what to choose from, although I show you each shelf every time. But that is it. If you like the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, turn your notification bell on so you know when I have a new video uploaded to the channel, and comment down below anything and everything. And until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye.